which of course implies the future. But if your destination or your future takes up so much of your attention that it becomes more important than what is happening now, then you completely miss the inner journey's purpose. Your inner journey's purpose has nothing to do with where you are going or what you are doing, but everything to do with the now. It has nothing to do with the future. If you don't understand your inner purpose, you will ultimately fail at your outer purpose. Keep in mind that the outer purpose is just a game that you may continue to play because you enjoy it. And often you may fail along the way, but it isn't a matter if you self-correct. Ultimately every outer purpose is doomed to fail sooner or later, because nothing in life is permanent. Everything must change sooner or later. The sooner you realize that your outer purpose cannot give you lasting fulfillment, the better. Once you see the limitations of your outer purpose, you can give up the unrealistic expectation that it can make you happy. More importantly, you make it subservient to your inner purpose. The key is to have your dwelling place in the now, and pay brief visits to your past and future when required. By saying yes to the present moment and surrendering to what is, you will notice how life suddenly starts working for you instead against you. Live in the present moment, but know that you are creating your future in this moment. What you are looking for is balance in your thinking. In other words, living in the present moment, while giving thought to something you desire and expecting it. The true source of joy, while living in the present moment, the true source of experiencing joy lies in one act: discovering and following what excites us the most in any given moment each day, all day. Doing the things that excite us is the only way that we will ever experience ourselves overflowing with joy and love. The way to be your most creative is following your joy. If you follow your joy and excitement, and do what comes natural to you, not necessarily easy, but joyfully, you will be the most beneficial to yourself, others around you, and to the world at large. Dare to be different. We discuss throughout this book the idea of choosing what we desire, and following our dreams. What stops many people from following their joy is that they are afraid that their way of doing something it will not be good enough or accepted. They compare what comes from them naturally with what is considered normal. That whole process of conformity starts in school. I remember when I was in first grade, the teacher asked us to draw a picture of a cat. When I was finished, my picture was considered so poor that I was told I had no talent as far as art is concerned. I never drew or participated in any art form after that. Perhaps you decided that you couldn't paint because you are comparing your art form to another. But the truth is you could no more paint like Van Gogh than Van Gogh could paint like you. The difference is that Van Gogh believed in himself, and in his style of painting. That's the magic. No one can do what you do exactly the way you do it. This includes business, the arts, or any area of life. A person's self-expression cannot be judged by another. What you do, whatever makes you feel alive and joyful, is your unique expression. And it is probably the only thing that will bring you true joy and excitement. The unhappy majority, unfortunately, for many of us, we spend much of our days following and doing what we have come to believe we need to do, rather than what truly excites us and what would, for that very reason, end up bringing us the joy we seek. Can we truly expect to experience enormous joy and happiness in our lives if the first concern we have in the morning upon awakening is to be on time to a job that does not bring us joy and excitement? If 70% of our days are filled with activities that do not bring us joy, excitement and love, then the remaining 30% cannot compensate for that. All the seminars, books, meditation, and affirmations are not going to help. Yet the more time we spend doing things that do not truly bring us joy and excitement, the more money we will spend on other things trying to compensate for our growing unhappiness. So the end result is that we are tied even more into working at what we dislike to pay our debts. It's a self-defeating cycle. Have you ever been in a room with many unhappy people? How did it feel in there? Now imagine what billions of unhappy people are doing to the planet. Unfortunately, we have become so accustomed to this energy that we don't even notice it anymore. It's as thick as molasses everywhere, with the exception of a few pockets of joy now and then. What we fail to understand is when we have billions of people doing things that they do not want to do, it creates unhappiness. That unhappiness creates a collective energy that goes into the environment and causes more damage to the planet than everything else combined. It is like anger causing an ulcer. The anger created the ulcer, just as people as sadness creates the negative result in the environment. There are many people concerned about the environment of the planet. They want to save the rivers, oceans and the forest. While that may be commendable, I can tell you that the energy from so many unhappy people on this planet is what is poisoning the environment more than everything else combined. We will not solve our environmental problems until we solve the sad energy problem. What we don't realize is that our physical environmental problems are created from the negative energy that comes from billions of unhappy people. Instead of trying to clean up the environment, we need to clean up the thinking and unhappiness of the people who are cause of our environmental problems. Others may not like it. You have read over and over throughout this book that all change comes from the inside. Trying to change things using the outside-in approach is always doomed to failure. On the surface this looks selfish, but you know by now that we can only change the planet one person at a time. As you begin to search for and follow your joy and excitement, you may feel this process appears a bit selfish. There may be other people around you that feel you are being selfish, but that is only because they cannot understand that, by allowing you the freedom to find your joy and excitement, that this will in turn make it easier for them to find and follow their joy also. In the beginning, having a family around you can at times make following your joy and excitement more challenging. Sometimes following your joy may feel like you are not being practical or looking after your responsibilities. You could subconsciously be afraid that you will end up playing away your time, or indulging yourself, rather than looking after your family. In the beginning it can be a delicate balance, but as time goes on you will be much happier, and the quality of time you spend with your family will improve considerably. Also, other things that need to be done will seem more enjoyable when you allow yourself to do them when it feels right, rather than when you thought you should be doing them. As you follow your joy and excitement, people will automatically see how much happier you are, and how much more you are enjoying your life. This gets their attention, and will slowly rub off on them as well. So in the beginning you could possibly receive some resistance from those close to you. This will pass as you become happier, and more excited to live each day. Joy is very addictive, and draws people towards you. As people see that it is okay to follow your joy and excitement, and that it is creative rather than destructive, they will very quickly attempt to bring this process into their own lives. Finding what brings you joy. If you are not sure what your true joy might be, ask yourself these questions and record your answers. What subjects do you most enjoy reading about? What television or radio programs do you most enjoy? What are your favorite types of movies? What are your favorite hobbies or pastimes? What type of volunteer activities do you prefer? What subjects do you enjoy discussing with friends? What subjects come to mind when you daydream? What have been your favorite jobs? What were your favorite school subjects? What are your pet peeves? If you doodle, what do you often draw? If you ran the world, what changes would you make? What are your favorite kinds of people? What are your favorite toys? How would you describe your political beliefs? Who do you most admire in life, and why? What tasks have brought you the most success? How would you like to be remembered after your death? If you won $1 million, what would you do with it? What tasks do you think you could do well, that you haven't yet done? Examine your answers. Do you see a certain behavior or belief in more than one aspect of your life? What information do you see repeated that seems to reveal a behavior pattern? What are your long-lasting interests? Using this information, paint a self-portrait by completing the following statements. I am mainly interested in I believe most in I most value I can do the following well for a good life. I feel I need now. Ask yourself if your current job or career helps you achieve these 5 statements. If it does, you're probably on the right path. Chances are, however, that the nagging voice means you are not satisfying your core desires. If this is the case, then it's time to find a better fit. As you can see, finding what brings you joy and excitement isn't that difficult. Essentially all it takes is to think about the things that you dream about, the things you think about, that you feel would bring you pleasure. After you have your list, the next step is to remove the things from this list that are an escape from what you are doing. There are a lot of things that we do to escape some of the unhappy situations in our lives. These are not the things that will truly bring us the joy and excitement we seek. Sometimes we do things that have ulterior motives attached to them, and we think we do it because it brings us joy.